Good afternoon. Welcome into the Senate Committee on Government Operations Committee meeting of Thursday, April 30th, the final day of April 2026. And we're hoping that the countdown into adjournment date doesn't exceed, let's say, 25.
May 15th.
Boy, that would be great. I'm not sure we can accomplish that, but it would be great. So today, H907 is up first. This is the act relating to the legislative review of reporting requirements. And I'd like to invite Denise Riley Hughes up first, who is the secretary for ADS, which is the Agency of Digital Services. Welcome in. I don't know if you, well, two of the seats aren't occupied yet, but that's Senator Morley and that's Senator Clarkson. I'm Ryan Palomore from the Rutland District. This is
Lynn Jackowski, I'm the committee assistant.
I'm in Central District. And Senator Becca White from Wins.
so welcome, Denise. It's good to see you.
Great to see you as well. So for the record, Denise Riley Hughes, I am the secretary for Agency of Digital Services.
Yep.
I also hold the title of the State Chief Information Officer as well. And thank you for the early explanation. We do issue an annual report that is pretty comprehensive on each one of our divisions. The work that we do across each of those divisions, what's been accomplished year to date. We have some very specific items that include the artificial intelligence report that is an inventory of all of our AI systems that are running across state government. That list has doubled every year or more. We also have a enterprise project management office report that includes all of our active projects, and that is because it's an annual report. We pull that as of December of the year prior to when we are issuing. So it'll be issued in January. We'll have captured a date as of December of the year prior. And so sometimes by the time you're reading that report, that information is a little outdated, especially if it's still an active project, but it does give a point in time view.
Okay.
We talk about accomplishments of the agency as well. And something that is really important. I think that we're almost up to 300 pages on the report, and we don't have a lot of avid readers of the report, but it is an opportunity to go back and really get a view on the work that's been done year over year to date. We have changed the format and framework of it, but it is an important report, not one that I would recommend we cancel.
Okay. I don't know that it's in the bill.
It's not in the bill. What I'm proposing is we put it in the bill as a permanent report. And so we don't have to do this every year where we look at it and wonder if we still need it. I can't imagine a point in a future where I'm still alive where we don't need to be checking in on cybersecurity and IT.
And that would not be particularly burdensome for your agency.
It would not. No, we have two reports. One is a strategic plan as well. And so we look at a 4-year strategic plan that gets updated every couple of years, and that's not required as part of the annual report. When we see something strategically that whether the administration's changed something, legislature's changed something that really makes a massive change to that report, we will modify it if it's outside of that 2-year refresh period. The Cyber Advisory Council, that's not included in our annual report. That is one I think that has come up. I didn't know that Sean Miller had come in last week to testify as well.
Yep.
I think there was a recommendation that we do sunset the report for that council, but that is not the same as our annual report.
Yes, there was some confusion as neither of those reports
For your grace in that confusion.
neither of the reports were in the bill, and through our conversation with John Naylor, we actually landed on a different date for that report with his recognition that report can be oral. It does not have to be written.
Great.
And I know Senator Bielski takes good notes, so we'll add that as an amendment to the bill. And appreciate you coming in.
That was the best meeting I've had all day. Thank you.
I'm happy to get that to you. And as I said, we would love to have you back at a later point to give us your report on your annual report.
Thank you.
Another report.
Yes.
Warm them up for you guys.
So Beth Pastici is joining us as well. Committee members have a memorandum on their desk, hopefully,
Hello.
from Beth. I see Senator Yagowski does.
I'm gonna look it up on our website, perhaps.
You could do that.
Oh, that's the report,
Is it the workforce report or the
Yeah.
seasonal?
the
report?
seasonal employee report.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Beth Bastici, Human Resources Commissioner. Here to talk about the seasonal employee report and, encourage it to remain as a report that you no longer need. And sunset that report.
Yeah, it's available elsewhere. Is that
Is it
not true?
Well, we, in our workforce report, we actually provide a lot more robust information on our temporary employees, and that's the link there. That's the link, the other link that's shown. If you go to page 80, it shows we have a lot more information in our temporary workforce. And also since we started providing this report, I think it was 2020, no one has ever asked us any questions about it. I'm not sure if anyone's really ever looked at it. We used to do a temporary employee report that folks actually didn't look at. The State Employees Association was very interested in it, but no longer so as we would provide them with additional data on a monthly basis. So they're getting the data on a monthly basis. And the concern is that temporary employees and the employment of temporary employees is not in line with statute and is also circumventing the classified service. So we provide the State Employees Association data every month so they can look and see what hours are tracking for employees and making sure it's in line with the statute, and they can kind of do those checks year round. So I think that India have robust controls to ensure departments know when they're getting close to those hours so that they can make plans so they don't run over allotted hours. And the seasonal report is different. It's not a number of hours, it's a number of months. And we kind of pulled that's a little bit separate because our seasonal employees sometimes do go over the 1280 hour limit, but that's just typically limited to people working in the parks in the summer. But they work a lot. When they work, the period of time they're working typically lots of hours.
Yeah.
Some of them, especially the park managers.
So your recommendation would be to ditch this one.
Yes.
We will.
And we did, just so you know, we are recommending, because of your robust and very navigable dashboard, we are recommending the repeal of all of the temporary employee reports.
Yeah.
Because we can very easily
Yeah.
find that information in an instant.
Great.
That's
So, right.
I just have one question, and I asked Commissioner Festigi before we went live. We had talked about how the judiciary has a temporary employees report and whether or not that was covered within the dashboard that is created, and it isn't. They are not included in that dashboard. So I don't remember where we landed on that, but to answer the question, are judicial temporary employees included? The answer is no.
Correct.
So I don't know where we landed
I'm
on.
trying to find my notes on that one.
I just have the names out there, so it's basically.
Oh, but you do have some numbers.
Yeah, this is the report that we have in our workforce report, and it's just the executive branch.
Yeah, so
Agencies, so.
yeah. I think we were wondering if we should require the judiciary to maintain doing that report, and since it's not covered, I would argue yes.
They came in,
I'm gonna have to go through some of my notes. They did come in. Terry Corson came in and gave us information on both that and public records stuff.
I think she had asked to keep the reports, so maybe they are.
I'd have to check in with Tim to see what we advised that he do, because I have those ones crossed off because we
Yeah.
agreed, we did them and as a committee agreed on a decision. I just don't currently know what that decision was.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Beth. And this won't be our final witness. Well, it might be our final witness today. It will be our final witness today on this bill, but we do have to make contact with our lead counsel to get the changes made that we've been talking about. So we're not going to be able to move this bill today. But Justin Kenny, our Chief Performance Officer, is also with us. Welcome back, Justin. Good to see you again.
I know. It's almost becoming a weekly occurrence.
Yeah.
For the record, Justin Kenny, Chief Performance Officer in the Agency of Administration. And I believe I'm here to talk about two reports. One would be the Genuine Progress Indicator
Yes.
report, and then the other around performance measures related to grants and contracts.
Yeah.
So those are two reports that I believe can be repealed. On the Genuine Progress Indicator report, so that came about back around 2012, 2014, with a strong focus on results-based accountability. I think there was this concept of using the Genuine Progress Indicator to help with policy decisions, to use that as a lens. Do you all know about the GPI?
Yes, we haven't had one in. Well,
Yeah, so we
here,
talked with the Government Accountability Committee about this a while back, because there is a requirement that the number get reported in our annual outcomes report. And we haven't been able to provide anything there since 2018. So one, the gentleman who was doing that work at the Gun Institute, Eric Zenzi, passed away. And there was no one there left to take over that work. Two, there was never any funding associated with the actual calculation, which is pretty extensive. It's 25 measures, you can go collect them and do the calculations out. And the report is pretty extensive. So then there was no funding available for the Gun Institute to actually do any of those calculations at the time. I look back to an old email, this was well before my time, I think it's 2014, about someone saying there might be $5,000 available, but the Gun Institute said that never actually materialized, and I'm sure that number would be much higher in today's day and age in terms of what it would take to do that report. So there hasn't been a report, and there's been no update to the actual measure of the indicator itself since 2018. And generally it looks 3 years back. So the 2018 number is from 2015 and prior. So it's kind of dated.
Yep.
One recommendation I had made back when GAC was around was that a number of the indicators that go into that index could be added to the annual outcomes report. So we wouldn't have the index itself, but at least we would have those robust set of indicators being reported. So that would be my recommendations at a future date when the indicators get updated, that some of the ones that are in here actually get put into the outcomes report. Because I feel like the index is helpful, but usually once people see the index, they actually want the raw data. They want to go into the numbers themselves. So why not just include the numbers in that report?
so does the rest of the committee want to support that recommendation? Yeah, me too.
So as we're having conversations about government accountability, I appreciate that this report, it sounds is like it is not doable and it's not really in line with how we're doing this work, and wanting to get us to a place with more government accountability. It, gives me a little bit of heartburn, although that could be how quickly I had lunch too. To think about repealing the one thing we seem to have that sort of, I'm trying to figure out a way that we sort of keep moving in the direction of better government accountability and get rid of the report that is not quite what we need it to be. I also know Senator Clarkson, who unfortunately isn't here, has some very strong feelings about this report.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have any suggestions about a way that we could, yes, repeal this, but keep what's useful now.
Yeah, I mean, I think to my point, whatever indicators go into the calculation, updating the actual indicator list for the annual outcomes report and having those be included. So the couple that are in here, I'll look at a couple things. And it's also a question of whether the data is readily available. Sometimes it's difficult to get the data, but there's a few things in here around like noise pollution, wetlands change, farmland change, forest cover change. Like those are things that are not currently included in the outcomes report that potentially could be included. Right. So that would cover some of that. Some that are specific are like cost of water pollution or cost of air pollution. Those we probably wouldn't have, but we have indicators around water pollution, air pollution, those types of things. So like a lot of these things are already covered in the outcomes report. It would just be a matter of figuring out what are the elements here that are not currently included and can we have those be reported? And then we could see all of those trends.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one was the contract,
Grants and contracts.
yes.
So to my knowledge, that has never been a standalone report that has ever been produced. I have never seen a version of it. I can't find one. What I would say is In the annual outcomes report, there is a requirement through the indicator list to report on the percent of contracts that are utilizing performance measures and the percent of grants that utilize performance measures. So we have been reporting on that every year. The way that that data comes in is through our Vision financial system. When folks execute grants and contracts, as part of that module, they have to select whether performance measures are included or not. It's been fairly stable over time. I think the contracts is around 60%, varies a little bit, and grants are around 75%. Part of the reason for that is like some of the money that we get from the feds will either allow or not allow performance measures. Also, some of the grants that we do are just pass-through grants, and so we can't actually institute any performance measures on those. So that would be why there's a bit of a discrepancy. But our office, it's always been an odd report because while we would support training for helping people think about performance measures, we're not grants and contract experts. So there's no way that we can speak to really what's in this report, the extent to which performance measures are in grants and contracts. There's no way for us to really know that because granting and contracting happens so disparately throughout the organization. Even the folks that are in statewide grant contracting divisions probably wouldn't know that without a pretty intensive survey to get that data. And the numbers themselves, I mean, they're helpful to look at, but I guess the question is, why do we want to have performance measures, grants, and contracts? I understand the benefit of it, but like, I don't know if we can ever get to that deep dive of how important the performance measures are in grants and contracts and whether they're the right ones that are being included. But I will say on this one too, it's like probably a vestige of Suzella, the former chief performance officer who had been the deputy for finance and management for many years before slipping into the role, and was the one that helped rewrite Bulletin 5. That's how the state managed its grants and contracts. So it was a natural fit for her to be involved in some of that work and do this reporting. It's not for me because I don't do any grants and contracting work. So really, if we were to keep this report and make it actually happen, I would just be asking folks throughout state government to give me their information, coalescing that, collating that, and then providing it back.
Is there another place where if we looked at each agency, we could find that info?
It's only in the Vision system as far as I understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, on the previous point, would you be able to sort of get a list of the indicators that are not in the outcome report?
Yeah, I can spot it.
Okay, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, I can focus on what's in the GPI and, right, including the GPI, not in the outcomes report. There's other measures, indicators too, that could be included there, so maybe I'll include an additional list.
Yeah, it would just, it would be, that's kind of the list I'm hoping for is what should we be sort of putting into that?
Essentially putting it, yeah, I can pull that together.
Just move us forward.
Yeah.
With government going forward.
Yeah, with the same.
Thank you. And so your recommendation for both of those reports is to repeal them and add some of these indicators to the
Yes.
outcomes report.
Yeah,
Okay, Justin, thank you.
thank you.
Stay dry,
I will. do
although
my
we do
best.
need the ring.
Definitely do need a rank, yes. Awesome, thanks. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You too.
Sorry to have missed. We've had a bit of a kerfluffle in Senate Economic Development. I apologize.
Could you spell that?
Kerfluffle, KERFLUFFLE.
I think it's a C.
There's a U later.
I think it's kerfluffle,
Kerfuffle
Kerfuffle or kerfluffle?
KERFUFFLE.
I could go, thank you.
Yeah.
Keep up the same.
Yeah, oh, a
Thank
peanut butter
you.
sandwich.
So, the next topic is, we don't have possession of the bill yet, but we're getting S 298 back. This is the, when it left here, it was called, the Vermont Voting,
Rights Act.
yeah,
No,
I
it's-
guess it still is. I think they
It's
renamed it.
protecting, now it's voter protection.
Yeah. So
Renaming it.
we don't have, they had third reading today on the floor. And then they'll have to get message, which for some reason takes like a whole day to walk from one chamber to the other. So we won't see it till Tuesday, but we will take it up again. They have, I would say, substantially changed it.
Okay.
And so we will have to, but we'll have to consider their changes. I don't want to presuppose that there'll be a conference committee. My guess is that there could be. And some of it has to do with, the Ethics Commission and Secretary of State and the friction that unfortunately is existing there, but, we'll probably see that next week.
Just a few minutes ago, Tim sent a new copy of that, so I'm having it printed now, and he's still on the.
Yeah, he's scheduled to come in at 2:00 to talk to us. And then 8:41, Mike Covey is going to be replaced by someone that runs the Sled Dog Company.
He's coming in
Association.
now, right, at 2?
No, that would be at 2:30, according to it.
Okay, I have. Okay, I just have.
Tim is that too.
Yeah.
Sorry, here's a
Um,
new update. Sorry, there's a new schedule right here.
And then Tanya is going to report, I thought we might get to it today, but we didn't get as far as it thought in the calendar. So S89, which is the, not disability, the,
Survivor.
Survivor benefits
benefits.
tomorrow, we're on deck for tomorrow, right?
yeah, well, it would have
We've
been
been
on
on.
today, but well,
Everything got cut short.
I understand. So that'll be, and then the other thing that's coming back to us is the Wyndham County Pilot Law Enforcement Project. I will say this, not again to, or load the dice, but, the House took it up, passed it out. It's passed with a proposal of amendment. The only change in it is a request from the House that halfway through that 5-year period, if you remember what it did, it
Mhm.
granted a voluntary
Pilot.
program for 5. So halfway through 2 years, 2.5 years, that they provide a report back to us as how things are going. I mean, in essence, that's all the things.
Okay.
So I think we'll concur and send that back. I certainly don't think we want to go to a conference committee about an amendment that's unsubstantial, but it's not a huge change. Hey, by the way, how you doing over there in Winter County? So those are the only ones I have. And again, the Burlington Charter, this is the one where there's an Office of DEI. That did pass. It didn't make crossover, so it's in rules, but I'm sure we'll get together tomorrow on rules and send it along. We still have to talk about the Stowe Charter. Assuming that passes, but I don't think that's passed over there yet. That would grant the municipality the ability to charge a 2% local option tax, which I think they're gonna make a pretty good case for it. The problem is once you
I
open the
don't
door.
think it's gonna be passed.
What do
Okay,
you mean?
I cannot imagine.
They did it already. They passed it.
well, Stowe did, but I don't think House government
Yeah,
operations.
House HGO, that's.
Ways and means. I can't even imagine that.
Okay, anyway, that's in the future. I don't know what's gonna happen, but just to put it on your radar. So that's what we're kind of looking at for the next few days. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate kind of the going through our to-do list. I am wondering about, H686,
Mhm.
which is a bill that came over to us from the House related to, I believe, like identification around lobbyists.
Mhm.
I don't remember how much time we took on that bill or if we've taken any testimony,
We
but
did walk through
we
it.
do.
Um,
I am wondering if we could consider a bit more for that bill and some.
I would be willing to hear more testimony. My intention is not to move it. I'll be very,
Okay.
But I think that an amendment that one could consider would be helpful.
And we could probably hear some language to that
Ben
effect.
was gonna get us, I think Ben would be open to our asking for an amendment. I haven't had a chance to ask him.
I have
I'd be for it.
spoken to Ben from VFR. And I think Senator Clarkson is largely correct that if there is some clarification about what is advertising needed, that is a possible.
Oh. Okay, well,
There's still some question whether or not it actually is needed, but
Okay,
yeah, I've
so-
just been hearing a little bit about it, so I
Yeah.
was wondering, I'm
Again-
not totally sure. And I remember us talking about it and me thinking in my mind, it's an election year, don't change election law. But then when I was looking back at the bill, I don't think it does change anything.
It's not really an elections bill,
Yeah.
but it does
It's-
change the landscape to some degree. Again, I'm trying to be as transparent because I know somebody's going to be watching this and then say, well, the chair said we're not going to take it up. It's not on my list of top 5 things to get accomplished.
Well, if you're willing to hear about it and
I
it's
will
not a top
certainly
five,
always be willing to
I
get
think
that.
that's even more generous. That's.
And as it's no surprise, and you do know it is important to me,
Which one?
the advertising disclosure for lobbyists.
Oh. What she just.
Yes, yes. I
So we'll,
You do love to know.
we'll take some more testimony, and that's all I can promise.
Thank you.
And may I just ask, I apologize, we have had a bit of a. We're having a. So, and our committee assistant is gonna be here tomorrow, so I'm trying to get everything. Okay, so I apologize for being late. What was how did we advance 907?
We're gonna make a few more changes, and Tim wasn't able to be with us, so we don't have a new draft. But that'll be reported up.
And just more like on for the day?
No, I think he said something about all the hospitals are here,
Oh,
Oh.
for health and welfare, yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a meeting with
I
all
don't
the
know what time
hospitals.
that is.
Well, they had a field trip out the back door yesterday.
Indeed. Okay, so, with that in mind, let's take a break and, reconvene 2:10,
Okay.
hoping that Tim Devlin he's gonna bring in the changes that the House made. Again, we can't officially act on the bill because we don't have it yet.
But we can at least